Hey, this is Ted Washington, former All-Pro, drafted by the San Francisco 49ers. You're listening to Matt and Dexter on the Grueling Truth.
Hey, welcome to the San Francisco 49ers weekly show on the Grueling Truth Radio Network, brought to you by Gridiron Mo, a new interactive football app that lets you call what an offense or defense will do in a live NFL game and compete against others around the country. Be sure to check that out at gridironmo.com or thegruelingtruth.net. I'm your host for the 49er weekly show, Matt Andruscavage, and at this time I'd like to welcome in my co-host, former San Francisco 49ers running back and Super Bowl 29 champion, Dexter Carter. How's it going tonight, my friend?
Hey, it's going awesome, man. Hey, first show of the year. We're excited about it. A all-California game Monday night. The Rams against the 49ers. So, hey, it's a great way to start off our podcast.
Sure is. I'm excited about the NFL season. It's finally here, and yes, the Niners are back on Monday night against the Los Angeles Rams. Speaking of the Los Angeles Rams, we have a special guest tonight. He does podcasting for the Grueling Truth, does a Rams show, and I do fantasy football show with him, and he does articles and stuff. So we'd like to welcome in Oz Davis, and welcome to the show, Oz.
Hey, glad to be here. Happy football season. It is now officially football.
Amen to that.
Yes, sir.
College has started. High school football has started. NFL started. Great. Happy football season.
Hey, if the NFL season, if the NFL season is anything like that first weekend of college football, man, it's going to be awesome.
Right. Yeah. So it looks like our game is Monday night football at 7:20 Pacific time. So, man, it's going to be 9:20 my time, and Dexter, it's going to be 10:20 your time. So I don't know how much of the game we're all going to get to watch. That's a late game.
Exactly.
Might have to record that one.
It's not often Rams and 49ers fans get to commiserate on the same issue. But this week we certainly do, because we have to wait the longest out of any fans. We have to wait. We're the last game in week one.
Right.
My God, make it more painful. Why don't you?
Yes,
we have to wait quite a while for our game.
Yeah, but it's gonna be well worth the wait, though. I mean, bringing this here rivalry back, and the Rams being back in LA, I think is obviously 20 years too late, but I think it's awesome, man. I'm excited to see the Rams back in LA and rejuvenate that rivalry.
Yeah, the last time the Rams 49ers played out of LA, that was the Super Bowl year, and you were in both those games, Dexter.
Yes, I was. Yeah, had some great games back then, man. So as a fan, I'm going to really enjoy it.
Definitely. So, Oz, tell us a little bit about what's going on in the Rams. You know, it sounds like Case Keenum's going to be the quarterback. He starts laughing.
Oh yeah.
Case Keenum's going to be the quarterback, and obviously that defensive line is still very strong in LA, and you got Todd Gurley. What are some expectations that you have for the game, and how do you see it shaking out?
Well, this game specifically, this is going to come as a real shock. But I think you guys need to watch out for Todd Gurley. Of course, we're going to say this before every game. But look, especially last year, Week 8, you guys may recall, Gurley had one of his best games in an awesome season: 20 carries for 133 yards, 1 touchdown. That's 6.6 yards per carry. I don't see anything different in the San Francisco front there, so I'm expecting Mr. Gurley to carry it early and often. Coupled with this, I mean, we're going in with 2 quarterbacks, right? We're going in with Case and we're going in with Sean Mannion. The word is that our number 1 draft pick, Mr. Goff, will not even suit up. The number 3 quarterback on the depth chart right now is Johnny Hecker, the punter.
Wow.
So we're certainly not going to see a lot of passing in this game. What am I looking for in this game? The last game of the season last year was 19-16 49ers in overtime over the Rams. I think that score sounds about right for this game.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's something along those lines. Like a 17-13, 19-16, something like that. I think that's a pretty fair assessment.
We're going to see that. I think that the Rams' weaknesses will not be really fully exploitable by the Niners in this game. One of the things that we've got to be concerned with in Los Angeles is that come down in the secondary. The loss of Janoris Jenkins really early in the free agency period, to me, that was still the biggest disappointment, the biggest minus of the Rams offseason, and I'm not sure that we have the replacements there in the backfield. The argument in Los Angeles is that this pass rush is so good and the Rams blitz so frequently that you will panic the weaker quarterbacks into bad decisions anyway, so it really doesn't matter who you got out back. But I don't know. I'd feel a lot better if Mr. Jenkins was still out there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that was a big loss for the Rams.
Yeah,
of course, Janoris is a Florida boy, so I'm very, very familiar with him. And
right.
I mean, he knows how to man that corner spot out there. But you mentioned Gurley, and I think it will be a close game. But Gurley, in my opinion, I love Hyde. But Gurley is at a point right now in his career, in his second year, I believe. He's the leader of that offense. And I think it's going to be very difficult for a very, very good 49er defense, to hold him down. I think he's going to be successful. I think he's going to come out, on the same momentum that he had when he ended the season last year. So I think it's going to be a challenge for the 49ers to stop Gurley.
Now, and here's what else we have going on. One of the big problems last season among quite a few was the offensive line. Now, we're still going into this year with 5 guys, all of whom are under 28. The most experienced guy out there, Roger Saffold, is a 5-year veteran. Okay, this is a young group. But I went to a few of the open practices out here in Irvine this offseason, and all the emphasis is on run blocking. Okay, here's another guy you're going to want to watch out for, Benny Cunningham. Cunningham has had an outstanding offseason. I thought he was great last year, but he was being used so often as a blocking back. I think this guy's going to get a lot of opportunity. And I think that the Rams have explicitly said they're one of 2 teams this season that's going to be handing the ball off one half the time. The other one is Minnesota. So it's not going to be any surprise to see Gurley get a lot of carries, but Cunningham may surprise you guys as well.
Yeah, if Cunningham plays, if he plays half of, what he's looked like and what, many think he will, I think that'll be better for Gurley, because he doesn't have to, be that 30 runner times running the game. And I think, that'll leave him fresh because the boy he's big, but he can run. And if Cunningham can, share some of that load, I think, that makes it better for, the quarterbacks, which everybody is not even, really high on. But I think that if you have a good running game, it eases the pain of that quarterback, coming into the season.
Yeah, there are no surprises in this Los Angeles offense. So, we're really going to have to depend on some execution. Of course, LA fans have got to be really worried about that line. It all starts there. They're going to have to produce the run blocking in a way that few lines in the NFL do right now. That's really a big task to fulfill, I think. So it'll be interesting to say the least. However, like I say, I don't think that San Francisco is, I don't know, how can I put this diplomatically, is that strong this season. So I think that some of the Los Angeles weaknesses, may not be so grievous in this game 1.
Oh, come on, Oz. Be nice, man. Be nice.
Well, I am. I'm trying to be diplomatic here.
I know.
But let's face it, man. We're fighting it out for the cellar in this division. I mean, Seattle and Arizona are just looking too good.
Yeah, they are.
You know, I mean,
are you crushing cans there, Ron?
Me? No, I don't think that's coming from me. I hope not.
Oh, okay. I was like, somebody's crushing cans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my bad. You heard me trying to open up my white fudge covered pretzels. My bad.
What is that?
Hey, my bad, guys. Hey, would you like some?
I would.
Give me a few more minutes and you hear me popping a tab on a couple of beers.
I'm like, what is Oz doing? I'm like, that can't be Dexter. It's got to be Oz.
Sorry, Oz, man. I didn't mean for him to blame you.
Oh, no. Hey, I do shows with Mike Goodpaster, man. I'm used to being the fall guy. No problem.
Very true. Well, here's the thing, Oz. You say, it's easy it's definitely understandable to think that the 49ers don't have a lot on defense, but the thing is I really believe the front seven's very much improved, especially drafting DeForest Buckner and pairing him with Arik Armstead, his old teammate. I really think those two guys are going to be tough to block up front. And with NaVorro Bowman and the linebacking core is vastly underrated. I think that front seven, I'm not saying it's one of the best in the league, but it's very tough, especially against the run. And I'm not saying they're going to shut down Gurley, but I don't think that they're just going to be pushed over, especially against that offensive line of the Rams. And then on the other side of the ball, the 49ers offensive line is greatly improved. Getting Anthony Davis out of retirement, they moved him to guard because they're so confident about mammoth right tackle Trent Brown, and then drafting Joshua Garnett at left guard and getting Daniel Kilgore back at center. It's a completely different offensive line than we've seen in the last 2 years. So I feel pretty confident about I think both teams have the same strategy, try to establish the run game, to set up the pass, and try very hard to stop the other team's running back. And so that's why I think it's a pretty close game.
In the Buckner was a very good pickup, but yes, you are going to need to build up that offensive line in San Francisco, because here's the deal. In the last 2 years, by far, the teams that blitz the most often are Arizona and the Rams. And, I think every team in this division is going to have to concentrate on the offensive line. In fact, I think this could be Seattle's Achilles heel this season. San Francisco could deal them a loss or two if your pass rush is any good at all, because the Seattle offensive line, they took a net minus for the offseason. So I think that if San Francisco has in fact addressed this offensive line issue, they'll be all the better for it.
Yeah, I believe they have. In the last 2 years, they've had Jonathan Martin on the right side or Eric Pierce, and they've just been pushed over. I just don't think we're going to see that this year.
Well, it'll be a good test. It'll be a good test for both of these offensive lines in this game. I think there's going to be a lot for them to handle. I would not be surprised to see, 8 sacks in this game, maybe 4 free sacks.
Very possible.
I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be.
Yeah, and it's not far-fetched to say coming into 2016 that this offensive line is vastly improved over last year. So there's optimism that's legitimate, and I think that's going to bode well for the running game and for Hyde. So I think they're only going to get stronger as the season progresses. So the 49ers should be excited about that offensive line and where they're at.
Yeah, I think we're in for a very good game. I think this is a winnable game for both sides, and I'm picking the Niners to win by 3. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think they've got just a little bit more, and I think they could force Case Keenum into a turnover late in the game. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it goes the way you're saying. So I think it's really a toss-up game, winnable for both sides, and I think I'd be more worried if this was a road game. This is a home game, and they haven't lost a home game in a long time on opening night. And everyone picked the Vikings last year, and they shut Adrian Peterson completely down, and Hyde went off. I'm not saying Hyde's going to go off again, but it's a good matchup.
They haven't lost a home game in a while. Yeah, it's been like 8-9 months, dude. But I mean,
no. Home opener.
Home opener. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And a long time since they lost the home opener.
I was wondering where you were going with that. Well, if you want a prediction, I'm a bit hesitant, but I'll pick the Rams by like 1 or 2 points in a real low-scoring game. I will say this: take the under. The under on this game is like 43 points. It's probably going to be under that. So
I would agree with that.
I think it's going to be a low-scoring one. But, I think this is a coin flip. You know, this is going to be a field goal either way. So, since I'm representing, I'll say Rams by 1 point because I know we're going to lose in week 2. So hoping for the win in week 1.
Yeah, well, maybe it'll be 20-21 because, and I say that because I just see, one, I'm hoping the 49ers can score 20 points, but I just don't see Gurley being held down. I like the 49ers defense, but I tell you, Gurley has had a great offseason, in my opinion. He's been very, very busy with the move to L.A. Looks like he's gravitated to that environment really well. And I tell you, he's just very strong, fast, and I don't see him being held down very much.
No, you're probably right. He's going to have a game.
You've heard me talk about this, Matt, on the Fantasy Football Podcast. I mean, this guy is otherworldly. I mean, to see this guy play, I mean, he's Shazam out there. He's magic out there. I mean, the best back, at least since Peterson, maybe better. I mean, you can't talk about stopping him like a normal running back. Again, you're talking about stopping an AP level guy. You know, I'll wait a couple of years before I say it, but it's almost like, stopping Walter Payton. I mean, this guy, or at least Eric Dickerson. This guy is just, on the eye test, he's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
No question.
Off the charts.
And not only on the eye test, because he was an eye test when he first came in, but he proved over the season that, one, he's beyond the eye test. He's performing on the field as greater than what we expected, especially coming out off of that knee injury that he had.
Yeah. I mean, how does a 6-foot guy fit through a 2-foot hole? But he does it constantly. It's like, how does he do that? It's just, and he's got this element where he's almost untackleable. I mean, this guy shed tackles like nuts last year, against some decent defenses. I mean, so if this game goes 3 touchdowns to 3 touchdowns, you're figuring Gurley's going to score a couple.
Right.
I think he's
the main scoring weapon. Yeah.
And long touchdowns, too.
Yeah.
Long.
Very possible.
Yeah.
The amazing stat about Todd Gurley last year was he ran for over 1,100 yards, which there aren't a lot of guys that are running for over 1,000 yards as much anymore because of all the running back by committee. But he ran for 1,100 yards in only 13 games, but 3 of those 13 games, he got less than 10 carries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting stat.
Yeah.
He was amazing last year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was it was something to see. I mean, again, I'm so happy that they're back in Los Angeles because this is like Eric Dickerson all over again. This is great. The Rams are back, and we've got a Dickerson. Fantastic. I'm imagining one of these 1970s playoff runs where we make the playoffs every year for a decade. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, you guys just got to finish 500 or above.
Yeah,
once you guys do that, then you'll be on your way.
Yeah, that might be a decade in itself.
So I guess that's the question: is this the year that can Jeff Fisher coach you guys past 7-9 this year, or are you guys kind of looking around the same?
Nah. Yeah, it just feels like an 8-8, doesn't it? I mean, Seattle and Arizona look so good. You know,
right.
I don't know if we'll have the 32nd passing attack in the league, but we're going to be bottom 3 or 4, I think, for sure. You know, Les Snead, the GM, and Jeff Fisher just got extended contracts, so there's no real impetus, I think, to perform right now. I think basically the city of Los Angeles is treating this like an expansion team. You know, if we go 3-13, no one's really going to complain too much, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I don't see the motivation, and I still see way too many holes. You know, quarterback, offensive line, and now secondary. It's just too many holes. And the problem is this is a great team, potentially. This is a great team. If we had a name quarterback, I mean, they'd be in much higher esteem. But you just, with what we have out there, you can't be optimistic, I think. So.
I think with excitement, yeah, I think with the excitement of the move, you know, many would be surprised on what a move would do for a team. But I think they're really, really excited about being in LA. And
absolutely.
And I think that's going to increase their performance, their enthusiasm, and you know, and their fight. And you know, and remember, they've got a coach now, and he's not going to put up with much now. I mean, Fisher's a good coach, and I think he's going to drive those players, you know, to maximize, you know, the possibilities of what they can accomplish, you know. And if Case Keenum can, you know, be, you know, just a little bit, you know, well, better than what we expect him to be, I think it might balance that offense out just right, just enough what they need to, you know, get above that 8-8 season.
Well, we'll see. I mean, already, you know, you're looking at 2 games against Seattle, 2 games against Arizona, a game against the Patriots. I mean, to me, right. That's a big hole right off the bat. You're looking at 0-5.
We're in the same boat. We got to play. I think our division's got to play the NFC South this year with Carolina, Tampa Bay,
you got the
Atlanta,
and the AFC East. East. Yeah. So
it's a tough schedule for both our teams.
Yep. No favors to the NFC West this year for sure. So I appreciate the optimism. I really do, but I don't know. I think we're kind of conditioned to hope for the 8-8. So.
Yeah. Which wouldn't be bad this year.
No.
Wouldn't be bad.
No.
You know, they got a new stadium coming, and you know, and the city's got a level of forgiveness right now.
Oh yeah.
So
so
you know,
I mean,
they can only grow.
We're just happy to see them. We have potentially the best halfback in the league. We've got one of the best defensive players in the league in Aaron Donald. I mean, there's going to be stuff to see. But I don't think the playoffs is one of them.
Yeah.
So real quick, guys, and you know, as we kind of wind down the show here, predictions. So, what do you see, Dexter? You know, we've kind of broken down the Rams and, you know, their strengths. Talked a little bit about the 49ers' strengths. What do you see as what do the 49ers have to do to win this game, and how do you see this all shaking out?
Well, I am excited about the possibilities of the offensive line. I just don't think they gel together just yet. I think Hyde, you know, would get his carries, and you know, and hopefully if he can get 75 yards, I'd be extremely excited. The passing game has got to have a vast improvement from what it had in the preseason for it be balanced enough, in my opinion, to I think be on par with the Rams in this game, because Gurley's going to get his, and I think Keenum, I don't think he's going to have any turnovers. That's what's going to give them the edge, and I think a 21-20 game is what I think it will be, but Gurley's going to be a handful to stop, and that's why, you know, I think they're going to be able to score 21 points.
Okay, so you got the Rams at 21-20? Okay, well, I think all these predictions are pretty fair, just because I think we all see the game shaking out relatively the same. Both teams have some strengths. Both teams have weaknesses, and you know, Todd Gurley could be the difference in this game. If the Rams win, I do think it'll be because Keenum does not turn the ball over. and Todd Gurley runs for like 130 yards and 2 scores, and they get after Blaine Gabbert. For the 49ers to win, I think they definitely have to be at least effective on the ground, because the Rams are going to be out to stop Carlos Hyde. But if Carlos Hyde can be effective with that new offensive line, I think that opens things up for the passing game, because the Rams don't really have a lot in the secondary like we've talked about.
Right.
I think the tight ends. I think the tight ends are going to be able to find space in the zones, and there's going to be some soft spots over the middle. I do think the offensive line can hold their own against that defensive line. That isn't to say that they won't get their sacks, because I think they probably will get a couple sacks on Gabbert. But Gabbert's mobile, and he's I think he'll be accurate in a short passing game. It's just going to come down to which quarterback turns the ball over or not. And at home, I think the Niners are going to be able to force a turnover and stay relatively turnover-free in this game. I'm going to go with the Niners in the close game, but I think we basically are saying the same things. You're just going to determine, which quarterback doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, I like the point about the turnovers. This was one strength that Keenum had last year, is that he wasn't turning it over nearly as often as Mr. Foles was. So that was a big improvement there. But here's what I think. I think Gabbert's going to see a lot of pressure. There's going to be a lot of blitzing in this game from the Rams. They're going to test to see what they got here. They're going to make Gabbert work for it. Now, I also think that, heavy blitz defense does open up some opportunities. And I can well imagine that Gabbert's going to get 2, 3, maybe 4 opportunities to go long. If he can take advantage of those, hey, they'll win that game. They'll get a few nice long gains that'll put them in position, and yeah, they can score some touchdowns. But I am really concerned, as a 49ers fan, I would be very concerned about their ability to score touchdowns in this game. I just don't. Where are they going to come from? Where are the touchdowns going to come from? The tight end? I mean, because that's what would concern me as a 49ers fan.
If they can get down inside the red zone, yeah, I do think they can score with the tight end, because I think they've got 2 tight ends that could give your linebackers some trouble.
Yeah.
But that isn't. But I also understand that, if Blaine Gabbert's seen a lot of pressure, I think I'd be more concerned if Colin Kaepernick was the starter against a heavy blitz package right now.
Yeah.
Blaine Gabbert to me handles the blitz better.
Yeah.
I think he's better on his reads. I think he's better on his hot routes, and I think he'll handle the blitz. I think he's more capable of handling the blitz at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree too.
So, well, I think we've all kind of laid out how we think the game's going to go. I know Dexter and I are hoping for a win for our Niners, and Oz is definitely hoping for the LA Rams to get their first victory back in the Los Angeles area.
Yeah.
But either way, all in all, I think we're in for at least, I don't know, I don't think it'll be a terribly ugly game. I think there will be some things to see. So, hopefully it'll be a fun game.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely want to see my Niners win, but and it will be close, so it can go either way. But
right.
Hopefully the Niners can pull it out. But I just don't see Todd Gurley, going extinct in this game.
Probably not. No.
Probably not.
All right. Well, I want to thank Oz Davis for joining us today on our 49er Weekly Show. Be sure to listen to all of our other shows on the Grueling Truth Radio Network. We've got a Fighting Irish show with former Notre Dame Fighting Irish Tony Hunter, and also that's who Oz Davis's co-host is for the Los Angeles Rams podcast on the Grueling Truth Radio Network. So, Oz, why don't you tell us a little bit about the podcast that you're doing with you're doing the CFL podcast, and you got a Rams one going on.
In a website that specializes in the podcast, I may be a king within that kingdom. Let's see. So we've got the Rouge, White, and Blue CFL podcast, which is me and fellow American Joe Pritchard looking at the Canadian Football League from an American perspective. We're big fans of the game. It's a wonderful game. Unfortunately, none of you are going to watch it for the rest of this season because the NFL is on. But it's a fun podcast. I also participate in the CFL Pick'em show with my good pastor, Brian Schmidt, and former CFL great on that show as well. Let's see, what else do I do? We have the Rams thing, which is still, as of yet, untitled. But we will be hopefully recording that this week. If not this week, then after Game 1 next week for the premiere episode of that. I'm sure I do other stuff too, but oh yes, we do the fantasy football podcast.
Yes, we do.
And
we even had a surprise guest one time when Dexter came out.
That's right.
Yep.
Dexter showed up the one time, and we bonded over Blake. It was fantastic. So I'm all over that website these days, thegruelingtruth.net. Check us out. We have lots of great quality podcasts, some not even with me on.
Absolutely. So we'll be having, I know there's a baseball one coming up. That's a weekly one. Also, other teams like the Indianapolis Colts, Green Bay Packers, Miami Dolphins, Cincinnati Bengals, and Pittsburgh Steelers shows are getting started. So be sure to check all that out on Stitcher, iTunes, iHeart, Google Play, anywhere you can find podcasts. You'll find The Grueling Truth. Also on the Grueling Truth Facebook page and thegruelingtruth.net. So for Oz Davis, Dexter Carter, and I am Matt Andruscavage, you've been listening to the San Francisco 49ers weekly show on the Grueling Truth Radio Network, where the legends speak.